Hey, howdy, hello. Tanya the tour guide with another episode of New Orleans Secret Myths. There are cities that drink, and then there is New Orleans, a place where alcohol was never just indulgent. It was medicine, ritual, and eventually art. Before the neon glow of Bourbon Street, before the jazz, before even Storyville, there were apothecaries grinding herbs, distilling spirits, and unknowingly creating what would become one of the most world's iconic cultural exports, the cocktail. Tonight, we step into candlelit pharmacies, into French Quarter courtyards thick with orange blossom and absinthe, into a time when healing and intoxication were dangerously intertwined, and at the center of it all, a man, a bottle, a bitter cure, in a city that would change drinking forever. In the early 1800s, in a modest shop along Royal Street lived a man named Antoine Peychaud, a Creole pharmacist, a refugee of revolution, a man trained in the delicate balance of chemistry and cure. His tools, mortar and pestle, glass vials, and a proprietary blend of bitters, Peychaud bitters. But this was no ordinary tonic. It was meant to calm the nerves, aid digestion, restore balance to the body in a city plagued by yellow fever, malaria, exhaustion from heat, and vice. Peychaud's concoction became essential, but the real magic was not the medicine, it was in how he served it. Legend tells us that Peychaud would mix his bitters with cognac, sugar, water, served in a small egg cup, a coquetier. Say it quickly, coquetier. Cocktail, and just like that, language itself begins to blur into legend. But whether myth or truth, what matters is this. New Orleans gave the world its first refined, intentional, mixed drink, and that drink would evolve into something iconic, the Sazerac. By the 1850s, the drink moves from pharmacy to public life. Enter the Sazerac Coffee House. Not just a bar, a hub of politics, business, gossip, seduction. Here the cocktail transforms. Cognac becomes rye whiskey. Absinthe is introduced. The ritual becomes precise. Rinse the glass, add bitters, stir, never shake. Express lemon peel. It is no longer medicine, it is ceremony. The Brandy Crusta. Before the modern cocktail garnish, there was art. Enter Joseph Santini. Working at the Jewel of the South bar in the 1850s, Santini created the Brandy Crusta. This drink introduced the sugar rim, the elaborate lemon peel spiral, a focus on presentation. It was the first visually theatrical cocktail. Without Santini, there is no modern cocktail aesthetic. The Jewel of the Nile, not in the location that it was formerly, but it certainly has made an impression on the city of New Orleans. This is an overlooked cocktail, and most people that come to the city of New Orleans don't indulge in this. They go to the more popular, the rumored versions, but I suggest giving this one a try. The Absinthe Frappé was invented in 1874 by bartender Gaetano Ferrar at the old Absinthe House, prior Alexis Coffee House, quickly becoming a signature cocktail for notable figures like Mark Twain and Oscar Wilde. It famously combined absinthe, simple syrup, and water, often served over crushed ice. Its history is tied to the 1912 U.S. ban on absinthe post-2007 legislation and enduring popularity. The Alexis Coffee House was on the corner of Bourbon and Bienville Streets. Prohibition ban in the U.S. banned absinthe, leading to a decline in original drink. During Prohibition, the bar moved its fixtures to 400 Bourbon Street to serve substitutes. The cocktail, considered a staple of New Orleans cocktail culture, often linked to the city's Green Ferry history, and famous patrons like Oscar Wilde, Mark Twain, and Frank Sinatra. Now, we meet obsession. Henry C. Ramos, his creation, the Ramos Gin Fizz, a drink requiring precision, endurance, perfection. During Mardi Gras, men lined up for blocks, bartenders shook for hours, because this drink wasn't just a drink, it was a test of devotion. A drink requiring egg white, cream, citrus, orange flower water. 12 to 15 minutes of shaking. One man became obsessed. Huey P. Long loved the Ramos Gin Fizz so much. He brought a bartender to New York to recreate it perfectly, and legend whispers he pushed for faster highways between Baton Rouge and New Orleans because he wanted his drink, his city, his woman, faster, relentless, like everything he did. Art so complicated it required 12 ingredients plus 12 minutes of shaking, multiple bartenders rotating shifts, lines stretched for blocks. Ramos hired a dozen of shaker boys just to keep up. This wasn't just a drink. It was a performance. Fire and theater. At Antoine's restaurant, Chef Jules Alciator creates Café Brûlot Diabolique, flaming brandy, citrus spice, a drink, and a performance. Translation, devilishly incendiary coffee. The classic New Orleans flaming coffee cocktail invented in the 1890s in Antoine's restaurant, combining brandy, orange liqueur, coffee spices, citrus, traditionally ignited tableside to create a dramatic, aromatic finale to a meal, often served in specialized cups. It was likely inspired by French coffee traditions at its time in Marseille. The name Diabolical comes from the devilish intense blue flames. The cocktail gained popularity during Prohibition as the strong spices of coffee provided a cover for alcohol, which was prohibited. This punch arrives in New Orleans, but something changes. It becomes thicker, colder, richer, more indulgent. Less about clarity, more about comfort. And then one place perfects it. A new tradition emerges at Brennan's, breakfast with alcohol, white tablecloths, courtyard sunlight, soft conversation, and in the glass, brandy milk punch. Elsewhere, a drink like this might be a dessert. In New Orleans, it is recovery. A cure for long nights, heavy indulgence, blurred memory, a hair of the dog refined into ritual. Because in this city, you do not escape excess. You ease into it again. The New Orleans version is unapologetic. It is made with brandy or bourbon, cream or milk, sugar, vanilla, crushed ice, and fresh grated nutmeg. It is not filtered. It is not delicate. It is decadent. By the earliest 20th century, New Orleans had already mastered medicine, ritual, obsession, but now it would master something else entirely, indulgence. Because not every drink in the city was meant to cure you. Some were meant to tempt you. Established in 1856, Tujague is one of the oldest continuing operating restaurants in New Orleans. Place of long wooden bars, Creole tradition, quiet power. Here, time does not rush, it lingers, just like the drink. Philibert Goucher, in 1918, owner and bartender, Goucher creates something unexpected. Not strong, not bitter, not medicinal, but soft, sweet, velvet-like. A simple combination of green creme de menthe, white creme de cacao, and cream, but simplicity can be deceptive. The color alone was revolutionary, a glowing green, unnatural, alluring, unlike anything else in the glass. It didn't look like whiskey. It didn't look like medicine. It looked like temptation. In the mid-20th century, at Napoleon House, Joe Impastato introduces what would become the New Orleans Pimm's Cup. Unlike the British origin, this version is taller, colder, brighter, made with Pimm's #1, lemonade, lemon lime soda, and a signature garnish, cucumber. This personally for me is the cocktail of the summer in New Orleans. That cucumber is everything. Fresh, cooling, alive, a contrast to the heavy richness of other New Orleans drinks. Some drinks whisper, others seduce, but this one arrives with force, because the story of the French 75 begins not in celebration, but in war. Named after the French 75mm field gun, it was known for its speed and its impact, and when a drink appeared in Paris with the same effect, sharp, bright, and powerful, it took its name. But like many things refined in France, it would find its truest expression in New Orleans. Founded in 1918, Arnaud became a sanctuary of French Creole elegance, ritual dining, timeless indulgence, and inside a bar would carry the name, the French 75. At Arnaud's, the French 75 often becomes cognac-based instead of gin, a subtle shift, but a powerful one. It ties the drink back to French heritage, Sazerac lineage, New Orleans identity. Softer, richer, more dangerous. Herbsaint in New Orleans, born anise-flavored liqueur created in 1934 by pharmacist J. Marion Legendre and partner Reginald Parker as a legal substitute for absinthe immediately following Prohibition. Originally named Legendre's Absinthe, it was renamed via an anagram to Herbsaint, from herb, saint, sacred herb. But most people believe it is the word absinthe scrambled to make it. In 1937 or 1938, head bartender Walter Bergeron creates something intentional. Not experimental, not accidental, but designed. Vieux Carré, named after the French Quarter, the Old Square, a place where cultures collided and never separated. The drink is not simple because New Orleans is not simple. It contains rye whiskey, cognac, sweet vermouth, and Benedictine and bitters. Every ingredient is a voice, every pour a story, and together they do what New Orleans has always done, blend. Some drinks are created with intention, measured, balanced, refined, and then there are drinks born out of pressure, out of necessity, out of survival. The hurricane was never meant to be elegant. It was meant to solve a problem. Before it became one of the world's most famous bars, Pat O'Brien's was something else entirely. A Prohibition-era speakeasy, known then as Mr. O'Brien's Club Tipperary. To enter, you needed a password. And once inside, you found what New Orleans has always offered, gape. After Prohibition ended, the rules changed, but not necessarily for the better, because now there's a new problem. World War II supply chain shift, whiskey becomes scarce, but rum, everywhere. Distributors imposed a deal. If you wanted one case of whiskey, you had to buy dozens of cases of rum. And suddenly, bars were drowning in it. Barrels stacked, rooms filled, and a spirit no one wanted, and quantities no one could use. So what do? When you're forced into excess, you disguise it. You sweeten it, you make it irresistible, and Pat O'Brien's does exactly that. He mixes rum, citrus, passion fruit syrup, creates something bright, fruity, dangerously smooth, and serves it in a glass shaped like a hurricane lamp. And just like that, the name sticks. The hand grenade. Earl Bernard and Pam Forden in the mid-'80s during energy surrounding the World's Fair wanted something different. Not just another drink, a signature, a spectacle, a challenge. Bright green, unmistakable, served in a plastic container, shaped like a grenade. A drink designed to stand out, hit hard, be remembered. The exact recipe, still secret, protected and guarded. Supposed to be a melon flavor concoction, but I think it's all about that cup. One of the first impressed cups to ever hit the streets was that hand grenade. Maybe not so much about what's in the cocktail, though some do love it. I do still believe it's all about the cup. Great job, you two. The city that taught the world to drink. In most cities, a drink is just a drink, a moment, a passing indulgence. But in New Orleans, a cocktail is something else entirely. It began with the pharmacist, mixing medicine into something more. It evolved into a ritual, became art. It turned into obsession. It cooled the city. It softened the morning. It indulged the senses. It sparkled with power. It burned the theater. It adapted through war and exploded into modern chaos. This is New Orleans Secret Myst. Thanks for joining me on another great episode. See you next week.